Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lex, and if you're not familiar with my content, I would definitely love it if you would go and check out some of the other videos on my channel. Just a taste of the more recent videos I did. I did do a 90 Day Fiance episode 1 recap that actually did pretty well, especially for a non-Love is Blind video. I think that video cracked like 1100 views, which is amazing. So thank you guys so much. I am planning to recap this season of 90 Day, so definitely check that one out. It will be linked in the cards. I'll also link my 90 Day Fiance recap playlist so you can check out any 90 Day Fiance videos I did. I also did a deep dive of part 1 of Quiet on Set. I am planning to do a part 2 where I talk about Drake Bell, and possibly a part 3 because there's been a lot of cast that has spoken out post the interviews, a lot of different stars from different angles. So I am also compiling like a part 3, that has to do with that. So definitely look out for those two this week. I do have a little bit of a busy week, so I'm at least hoping to get part 2 out by the end of the week. And also I'm going to be recapping Summer House, Martha's Vineyard. So I'm not a huge Bravo show girly. I don't really watch any of the Housewives shows, but I am excited for this one. I love any show with an all-black cast. So anyway, let's just get into this episode of 90 Day Fiance. I'm gonna tell y'all from the top, there's not a lot to talk about. I feel like this happens a lot with 90 Day Fiance where there's nothing to talk about. I also feel like TLC is on some weird stuff. I think TLC is kind of on their weird, editing, like rearranging stuff, because last week we got a preview of Manuel and Ashley talking about how she owes $100,000 in debt, and we did not see that scene this episode. As well as we got a scene of Michael and Angela that was also supposed to be for this episode, which we did not see. So I don't know what's going on. It is also possible that we're probably not going to see a lot of Mahmoud and Ashley, or and Angela and Michael, just because of their out of the show scandals. But you know, TLC is a cesspool, so I'm not like really counting on that. So let's get into it. I don't think I'm gonna have a lot to talk about today. Let's start off with Gino and Jasmine. TLC, what the was this scene? What the was this scene? Okay, so we start off with them still camping. Gino and Jasmine are having a very elongated conversation about their ex life. I'm like, I don't need this. I don't need to know your actual preferences. I don't need to know what's going on. We basically get Jasmine sucking on Gino's toes. I should have put a trigger warning. I'm sorry. But we get Jasmine sucking on Gino's toes, talking about how she loves to suck his feet. Apparently she has a foot fetish. And at one point she goes, "It tastes like cheese here." I'm like, please, why does TLC put us through these kinds of things, okay? The things I go through to watch this show and recap, because girl, I was like, Jasmine, never again. Never again. Never again. Never. It's like y'all was camping all day, and then his feet are funky, and then she said she got turned on by them Jesus sandals that he was wearing, and I was like, it is insane to me how Jasmine genuinely likes Gino. Okay, I know we got a lot of scammers on these shows, but I will never, never, never not stand by the fact that I feel like Michael, at one point, really liked Angela. I don't think he does no more. But I do think there was genuinely a point where he fell for Angela. And I believe that Jasmine is, seriously in love with Gino. It's not even funny. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. So at this point, Jasmine does tell Gino. So they do end up going to the tent and having their little eggs and whatever. We see them the next morning, and Jasmine is talking about how she still really wants a baby. Gino goes, "I hope we made a baby last night." in his like very squeaky voice. And Jasmine at this point decides to tell Gino about her infertility issues. That she basically reveals that she has 2 kids, but she had to be on, it seems like, progesterone shots. A lot of women have to take it if you have low hormone levels during pregnancy. And so it seems that she had to be on like progesterone shots or one of those shots during her pregnancy in order to maintain the pregnancy. She also talked about how she was on fertility treatments. And Gino's like, okay, I understand why you didn't tell me. Like, he didn't even care that she didn't tell him. I mean, I do think a lot of their drama is manufactured, but I feel like that's when Gino was like, okay, you had to take fertility shots, cool. And so that is kind of that with them, you know. So then Jasmine goes on this very elongated scene about how when you are ovulating to make a baby, you have to give 1 fish, but then each and every day you have to give more and more fish. And so by the time that you are ovulating the most, which by the way, she was explaining this very wrong, because you have 1 ovulation day, right? And then surrounding the ovulation day, the egg can, I believe, be viable for about 24 hours, right? So in theory, you can do it up to 5 days before because things can live for 5 days. But the way Jasmine was explaining it, that you need to do it 4 times a day, the more you're ovulating, it's like, girl, what are you talking about? This is not even real. And Gino's like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to have this forced eggs. And I'm like, ugh. Y'all, I can't recap no more of that for you, but whatever. That is basically what happened. So Kobe and Emily, they are flying 21 hours to Cameroon, and they finally make it there and meet Kobe's best friend, whose name is now slipping my mind. Sorry. I think it was Quincy, something like that. So there is a little situation where a bunch of men are surrounding Kobe once they get to the airport. And you know, 90 Day Fiance be dramatizing scenes, but also like, y'all are white. Y'all are there with a giant camera crew and like 40 bags and like all this big production, and want to wonder why folks are surrounding you. Like, I just feel like you guys are sticking out, and not just solely for being white, but also because you have that big camera crew with you. So anyway, we are introduced to Big Ed and Liz this episode. Gag. And we learn that Liz's daughter is living with them for the summer. So basically, Liz and Ed, they have moved to Arkansas, probably for cost reasons. I mean, girl, they were living in LA. And we also find out Liz gave up her partnership at the restaurant. And I'm like, why? Why? Like, life is not all about jobs. It's not all about work. Like, I'm not even a person that is like that. I'm not even one of those, like, career till I die girlies, like, whatsoever. But I don't know. Why would you leave a good job, a restaurant partnership, to move to Arkansas with Ed when your relationship was not even good? Like, you know, their relationship was very tumultuous. And you have a daughter who, I mean, we know Liz does not have, like, primary custody of her daughter. Her ex does. But nonetheless, they're living in Arkansas, and they also are still engaged and finally have a wedding date. So, okay. Now, Rob and Sophie, we get a montage of them after their talk last week. Sophie's in her Uber back home. Rob's driving back home. They're both saying, we believe that it can work. We believe that it can work. We're upset that, you know, we couldn't just figure it out then and there. You know, Rob's talking about how he's so upset to have to go home alone without Sophie because he really believes that it can work. And Sophie's like, I want to do this. I want to get back to it, but I don't want to be with somebody where the same things happen over and over again. And I'm like, are these two like a plant couple? Like, let's be for real, because it's like you guys were doomed from the start. Like you guys never got along. You guys had problems from the beginning. This man cheated from the beginning. It's up and down. It is so tumultuous with these two. And I just don't understand what the point or the purpose is here. I really don't. I really don't get it because these two, we've never even seen them get along. I think I said that last season, where it's like, we have not seen one scene of those two getting along, being happy. So we get this like real sad montage of Rob going home. He's like holding the ring, just looking at it, so sad, laying in bed by himself. And I'm like, I can't do this. I'm like, this is entirely too much for me. Okay, so we have Nicole and Mahmoud. So Mahmoud he gets off the plane and Nicole is already like on edge. Like I saw some interesting takes on this, but the thing is, we already know that Mahmoud is like very uptight. Like I'm not saying Nicole is perfect because I think Nicole has her own set of issues as well. But we know that Mahmoud is like very uptight, and we can already kind of tell that Nicole is like on edge with him being there in the US. So Nicole is already asking Mahmoud, like, how's your flight? Do you like the US? He's like, I'm tired, honey. I'm tired. And it's like, don't get me wrong. I'm the kind of person where, yes, if I just got done doing something, I just got off work, I just got off a plane, I don't really need you asking me 20 times how things are. Am I happy? Am I in a good mood? But I think with Nicole, one thing that she obviously knows is that he kind of turns at the drop of a hat. So she wants some indicator. She wants some kind of validation that he's happy, he's feeling good, because she knows that, a lot is riding on this, essentially. So Nicole is commenting how, like, he will not kiss her on the lips, like, in public. They get into this thing at the airport where, for Mahmoud, we know he's, like, part of, like, a much more rigid, I don't know if radical's the word, but like radical or conservative religious sect in Egypt, And so they don't kiss on the lips or show PDA in public. And Nicole's like, well, you're in the US now and I can do whatever I want to you. And it's like every time one of them speaks, I'm like, why are we together? Why are we together? Because I just think, obviously, like, he is part of this. He's not going to do that with you. And I think Mahmoud also enjoys, like, really pissing off and making Nicole mad and having that control of knowing that Nicole is so desperate for him. I think, like, he loves knowing that she is so desperate for crumbs. Like a lot of abusers do, right? Let's be for real. A lot of abusers do this stuff where they withhold affection, they withhold compliments, they constantly break you down little by little and make you feel like you're so incompetent because they know you are desperate for their validation. So I feel like we see that a lot with Mahmoud. And then they also get into a little argument because Nicole is wearing that low, she's wearing a fit that shows like a little stomach, a little sliver of stomach. And they comment on that and talk about that as well, how Mahmoud doesn't approve of that. So Mahmoud is already complaining. He's already complaining once he makes it here. They get into the car and they show a scene of Nicole driving. And then Mahmoud is like, damn, honey, like this is how you're driving? And I'm like, oh my God, I could never. Okay. Let's get to Ashley and Manuel. So Ashley's like, I'm finally going to talk about the kids. They're driving back from hanging out with her family, it looks like. And Ashley's like, I'm finally going to talk about the kids. Enough is enough. I want to know what's going on. So Manuel says his kids know about the marriage and that he is basically preparing them to communicate with Ashley as their second mom. Why in the world are we getting married? Full-blown married to people before they've even met our kids, yo. Like, what is going on with these people? What do you mean you're preparing them to communicate with Ashley? Ashley should have already communicated with them. They go back and forth, honestly. This argument goes on for a while, where they go back and forth, where Ashley's like, I don't feel like I know anything. I don't feel like it's fair that I don't know anything. You know, I feel like you haven't communicated with me. Manuel says, I don't have to say anything if I don't want to. I don't have to open my mouth about it if you don't ask me. I don't have to tell you anything. And I'm like, excuse me? Excuse me? Child. This stuff could never be me. This stuff could never be me, where I'm marrying someone, I'm bringing them here, I'm sponsoring them, and they're telling me to my face, oh, I don't have to tell you anything about my kids and my business back home. What do you mean, Manuel? What do you mean? Especially when Ashley and her mom are sending money back to your family because you don't have it. I'm sorry, but like, that's dead wrong. That is dead wrong to be like, I don't have to tell you anything. I don't have to open my mouth about this. I don't have to say anything. When Ashley and her family are sending your family money. Don't agree. Don't agree. Hard disagree. He says he doesn't like talking about it with anyone. He doesn't like talking about the kids with anyone. And I'm like, okay, Manuel. They go home and Manuel is like making fun of Ashley. And I'm like, this is toxic. He slams the door and leaves, and Ashley's just sitting outside, like, just done. So, Jasmine and Gino. We pan to Jasmine on a phone call with her mom and her sister. We do learn that her sister is currently taking care of her kids because she, quote unquote, wouldn't trust anyone else. I'm not sure, but for some odd reason, I was under the impression that Jasmine's partner, like her ex, was taking care of the kids, and I was under the impression that the father was still in the picture. Jasmine makes it sound like she's a single mother, but I'm like, girl, we've seen you gallivanting around on this show for like 5 seasons. That's not to say that the kids might not have been around and we just didn't see them on the show. But I don't know. For some reason, I was under the impression the kids were with their dad, but supposedly the kids are with Jasmine's sister. So they talk a lot about how Gino promised to bring over her kids once they got her over. And my whole thing with this is like, girl, it's not about promising. It's about Gino having the money. When you're sponsoring multiple people, you need to have the money to sponsor those people. And being that Jasmine can't sponsor her own kids right now because her green card's pending, it's like, girl, like, did you think that Gino had the money to sponsor 3 people? Like, Gino said he doesn't have a job. Okay, anyway. So Jasmine also learns that her mom is pretty sick and she actually does need a biopsy to ensure that she doesn't have cancer. So she tells her sister that she's going to ask Gino for the $800 to send it over to her mom because Jasmine says now she feels like a bad mom, a bad daughter because she's not there. She can't travel back at the moment. And we leave her there. So Kobe and Emily, we see the post situation and they're basically just in shock. They're asking, is it safe here? Is it always like this? After that situation where all of the men mobbed around them asking for money at the airport, Kobe reassures them like, I mean, it's not normal, but like he basically says, you know, we're here. You guys are white. We're here with a big camera crew. They assume that there's money because, well, you guys are tourists. They don't typically see people like you. And yeah, I don't know. Why are you going into countries? I mean, I get it. It's for a TV show. This is all paid for by the TV show. But it's also like, I think in a lot of places, if you're walking around with a big production crew and big cameras, I mean, people are going to look. So that's all I have to say there. So now we get a scene with Sophie and her mom, Claire. So Claire talks about how John, her new boyfriend that we're introduced to last week, said, I love you to her recently. She goes, he said that L word. And I'm like, ooh, child, Sophie's mom is, I mean, look, anytime I look at Sophie's mom, I understand why Sophie is the way she is. So they're talking a lot about her marriage. Sophie says, well, my marriage is failing. My marriage is doing really poorly. And they go on and, you know, Sophie reveals that her mom was not clean when she was a kid. I think we've heard a lot on the show that it was just Sophie and her mom growing up. And Sophie reveals that her mom wasn't clean. And there were times where her mom actually OD'd and Sophie would have to like save her life. So I don't know. For me, that gave me a lot of context onto Sophie and why she is the way she is and the experiences she's had. And I absolutely feel for her. And, you know, Claire, obviously, of course, is speechless. She doesn't really have anything to say. It obviously seems like Claire is doing better. But I think that it was interesting to kind of get that insight on Sophie and her background and who she is. All right, so we go back to Big Ed and Liz. And so we learn that Ed gave up his job as well. Another person who doesn't have a job. So he says at this point, he gave up his job and they are both living off of savings in Arkansas. And so now they're going to become realtors because Ed says, I need an income stream. I don't want to tell Liz we're underwater, so let's become realtors. So they're going to become real estate agents after their real estate licenses go through. There's nothing to say here. I just think it's interesting how everybody on the show gives up their jobs, you know? Okay. Kobe and Emily. So Kobe and Emily, they are driving through Cameroon, and at this point they stop. Emily says, oh my God, I expected Cameroon to be like this safari. I expected like elephants and tigers to be on the side of the road. Oh Lord. Then they stop at a store to get some Cameroonian clothes to meet Kobe's family, and Emily's dad goes, Wakanda. I love it. And Emily has on a traditional Cameroonian hat or cap, and he goes, Cleopatra. I know maybe some of y'all find it quirky and cute. For me, white ignorance ain't that cute or funny, but okay. The Learning Channel. Okay, let's go on to Mahmoud and Nicole. So Mahmoud finally has made it to Nicole's house, and he is horrified. Nicole has a lot of naked art, you know, she has some naked paintings. She also has like a naked mannequin and a shower curtain, and Mahmoud is horrified, and he's really being pretty insulting to her. And again, I struggle with where I don't think either one of them is right. It's like Nicole knows Mahmoud is a very rigid person. Why did he come here though? I don't know. When you know the kind of person Nicole is, you tried to force this girl so hard to be a Muslim, a devout, strict Muslim, and she didn't want to be. And then now you're shocked when you get to her house. But in the same vein, it's like, why are you inviting this man over when you know his expectations? I think these two are a hot mess. So Nicole buys him some boxers, like some shorts, and, you know, he is horrified. He's like, I don't like this. It feels inappropriate. And again, I just want to remind y'all, most Egyptians are not like Mahmoud, okay? Because I'm like, girl, I'm like, sorry, like you're mad because your wife got you a pair of shorts? I don't know. Okay, and we end off our episode with Jasmine and Gino. So at this point, they are here to talk to an attorney about bringing Jasmine's kids over. So when you're on a green card, you can't just travel in and out of the country. You actually have to file a form, which is called an advance parole form. And Jasmine was supposed to file that a long time ago, and it would have allowed her to travel out of the country. I'm a little aware of this because actually my fiance has a green card, and yeah. Before that, before your green card is processed, yes, you can file this form to travel in and out of the country to see your family. Like when he wanted to go to Honduras, my fiance, he just had to file this paper, and then he could travel in and out of the country prior to his green card being processed. So anyway, with Jasmine, the lawyer, first off, this lawyer, he was so funny. He was so done. This lawyer, he was so done with these two. He was like, well, you're gonna have to file the advance parole. Right now, it's looking like 12 to 15 months. Jasmine is sobbing. She is sobbing because she really needs to see her mom. She really wants to see her kids. Apparently, she hasn't seen her kids in, I think, 4 months or 5 months at this point, they had said. So at this point, Jasmine also says, okay, like, I would like to bring my kids over. I know that my green card is processing, but I would like to bring my kids over. So I would like to know a little more about that. The attorney, Anthony, that's his name, he turns around to Gino and he goes, well, did you include the kids on the petition, for the green card? And he goes, oh no, I thought when we did the adjustment of status that we would be able to include them. And Anthony's like, an adjustment of status is to adjust the status. If the kids don't have a status because they were never filed on the petition, then there's nothing to adjust. And I was laughing, y'all. I was like, finally, someone on 90 Day Fiance is not with the shit. He goes, Google ain't tell you how to file? I was like, oh nah, not this man saying Google ain't tell you what to do. Oh nah. He goes, look, at this point, you can add them on. We're going to have to file, I forgot the name of the other form, but we're going to have to file another form and you can list the kids on that form. But at this point, you will have to pay us $4,000 to represent you for at least another 12 to 14 months. But if we're being honest, it's probably going to take longer than that. It'll probably take 1.5 to 2 years. Jasmine starts sobbing. And for me, I'm like, Gino's like, wow, so if I had just put the kids, then, we would have been good. Be so for real. Neither Jasmine or Gino wanted to put those kids originally. They just didn't. They just did not whatsoever. I think Jasmine, it's like Manuel, I'm sorry, they're gallivanting around the U.S., gallivanting around on this show, and it's like you want to cry and whine and say you care so much about your kids. Where are they then? Where are they? So that's how we end our episode. So we still did not see Michael and Angela, Alex and Lauren, which, God, I don't want to see them. I don't want to see either one of these couples. And we got very little Ashley and Manuel this episode, so that's all. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you got here, please like, share, comment, and subscribe because it inspires me to keep creating content for you guys. It helps my channel to grow and it just gets the videos out there. And comment, like, share, let me know what you thought of the episode and I will talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.